Welcome to Have You Read Any Good Books? I'm Mavis Applewater, and this is Author Chat. Today's guest is J.D. Glass. Joining us once again, we have a lot to talk about. You have been very busy, extremely busy, actually. Uh,
And that's
uh,
just stuff you know about.
just the stuff I know about. Firefall, new book. We talked about that the last time you were here.
Yes.
Speaking of the last time you were here, links will be in the description below for everything we talked about today, including the movie, all that. And so please hit like, subscribe, visit the gift shop, all that fun shenanigans. But anything related to JD will be in the description below. So the film, Her Curve.
Yes. So we did a
Let's
short.
jump right in, right?
Yeah, all right, just right on. Okay, so my wife had a graphic novel out several years ago called Grace. And I love the story and I always thought, you know what, this should be a film. So I'm like, I should do the film. So I wrote a script and I wrote a proof of concept, a short. And so
Mhm.
I produced the short with some really wonderful people, including I have to like name names. So Stacy Calvert,
Please.
director, Jacqueline Chesson was the co-director.
Nice.
Um, Candace Kane was in it.
Oh,
Tina Dalia
awesome.
I know, right? Tina Dalia was in it. Dalila Ali Rajah was also in it. And they are all slated to be in the feature as well. We have some other really wonderful people who've also agreed to be in the feature. So, 'cause we're in pre-production right now, so that includes Gio Espiritu. We are
Wow.
crazy excited. But the short went really well. So the short did well.
Mhm.
We submitted it to festivals, and we've been getting laurels and stuff. So now we are in the active pre-production part. Um, a lot of times people call this, production hell, because this is the part where you have the different pieces that you need, but you're raising the funding. So
Right.
we're that's what we're doing. So we're in the process of raising the funding. We've had some really surprising and amazing people donate to the cause, as it were. Um, but I like that we're reaching out to the crowd because this is a movie for us. And what
Absolutely.
I mean by that, this is um it's a it's a rom-com. It's a sapphic rom-com, but it's Gen X, it's BIPOC, you know, um before, in front and behind the camera, everybody's queer, and it's a mostly female team,
Nice.
right?
And people can help support this. This is what we're talking about, the links. There'll be a link to help donate to the production of Her Curve. I mean, this is like we talked about this movie before and you were very excited about it. And you're like, oh, well, we're going to a couple festivals, but it's been doing so well.
It really
Everything's
has.
coming together. And I don't think a lot of people understand how making a movie works. It's a process. It is.
It's extremely collaborative. To
Mm-hmm.
me, it's a very collaborative process, but it is a process. And you need it's a house of cards, because put together it's a beautiful functioning thing, but one piece out of place, and it's not it's worse than Jenga, because you can bounce, you know but one piece comes out of place and you're starting from scratch again. So, but that said, like I said, we have an amazing cast. The directors are beautiful people. I love everyone that, has been working with this. And we have some kind of high hopes about who we're casting for other parts as well.
Right.
Um, but it's exciting. And like I said, it's for us. It's you know, women, and it's Gen X, and it's, the range of ethnicity, because that's life.
That is life. Thank you. Yeah, unlike what a lot of people believe, it's not a vanilla world. It just
Or
really isn't.
And here's the thing, a vanilla world, when you think about it, vanilla is an exotic spice. It comes from an orchid.
Yes, it does.
It's actually an exotic spice. So it's not a plain water world, you know? So,
Wow.
but
So how is you're in New York?
yes.
Yeah, I miss the East Coast this time of year. It's Halloween time in New York. That's freaking great.
Well, New York is considers itself part of New England. New England does not consider New York part of New England due to an old political rivalry, or actually a political decision. Um, so that said, you still can't take the New England out of New York.
No,
And it's obvious everywhere you go, especially with the changing of the colors of the trees. It's gorgeous. And I love this is my favorite time of year.
it's a great
So
time of year. It really is. And I'm actually from New England. Being a Bostonian, it's political and
that's
it's
right.
it's sports. A lot to do with the sports. Because you guys suck. But
I
no, it is.
I'm not a sports fan
Yeah.
per se, so and ironically enough, the only time I tend to actually support Boston or New York if they're in these big, big, big things.
Yeah.
If it's Boston playing New York, I stay out of it.
Yeah, well, wise choice, wise choice. But it is, it's such a beautiful, it's just and no, if you haven't seen New England in the fall, do it. That's why I got married in September. It's just the feel of everything is completely unique.
It really is. And this is the time of year to just go out for a ride for
Yeah,
no reason than to just get out of the urban or even a suburban area and just go see the trees.
I
Just
see the tree.
enjoy the gorgeousness of it all.
And if you're a young writer, it's very inspiring. I feel rom-com. Speaking of rom-coms,
Yes.
last time you were here, we wanted to talk about Firefall. Now, Firefall is out, correct?
It is out. Yes, it was
Yes.
released September 3rd. And
Oh,
it
right. I have it right in front. Oops.
that's okay.
Check your
So
notes, Em.
and it seems to have been making some really interesting inroads into like different sort of reading groups or reading populations, which I'm thrilled about. And the one of the comments I keep getting repeatedly is that people love how I respect the intelligence of the reader. You know, that I I expect the reader to understand, without having to sort of spoon feed a bit. And well, that makes sense to me. I tend to always
Yeah,
be a little more literary. So,
right.
and I'm not following anything other than, this is life. This is what life looks like. I'm going to put it in a book. You know,
And your lead character, she's an EMT by day and a
yes,
graphic artist by night. So this is all very interesting worlds, worlds that I know you can relate to as well. You've
very, very
had,
personally.
yes, you've had such an interesting life, JD.
Thank
I
you.
like keep finding out new things. I'm like, when did she do that? Crap. I feel like such a slacker. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, so she's an EMT. She moonlights as a smoke jumper, actually. And when she's not doing either of those things, she's a comic book artist. So I identify with these things very deeply.
yes.
With the exception of I've never jumped out of an airplane, and I don't intend to. I don't intend to ever need to.
Oh,
So
okay.
those two things, you have to put that out loud to the universe. You don't want to, you don't want to need to. You know.
Yeah,
Just in
that
case the universe is playing with you, you
wanting
know?
to skydive is one thing. Escaping a plane is another, just
Exactly. Exactly.
oh,
So,
but
but there are when you're an EMT, and you're a rescue person of any sort. Now, I used to belong to the local rescue unit, a volunteer unit, as well as working for 911. And so, what happens is that there are these organizations, they're kind of elite, they're rescue organizations, and they recruit you. And when you get recruited, you get to do things like jump out of perfectly good airplanes, and you go to college, but you also go to like the tsunami, that
Oh,
happened.
okay.
You go all over the world as a rescue person. And so there's definitely, there's a definite dedicated coterie of people who do these things. And I think it's incredible and it's amazing and God bless and thank God at the same time for the
Hmm.
people who do that. And so um it had been something I had wanted to do. And so even though I came kind of close to doing that domestically,
Right.
I wanted to explore what it would be like to be a person who perhaps isn't quite so regionally constrained in their response.
Regionally constrained. I love that. I find it interesting. And I was talking to other writers that when you and I began this path, it was mostly coming out stories because let's face it, you couldn't just be out. And
Right.
now it's like, no, this is the character. This is what she does. Oh, and she's gay. Yeah.
Right. The gay is almost incidental, right? It's just it's wonderful that we've gotten to that point
Hmm.
where our stories are more about just being a part of the fabric, of everyday life. Whereas before, exactly, all our stories were about how we had to survive in the first place.
Right.
You know, um, I'm thinking the metaphor in a way would be sort of like all the stories used to be about seeds popping out of the ground. We were seeds popping out of the ground, and we had to pop out of the ground. But now we have a garden, which is awesome.
Yes. That's a great way to put it. Now we have a garden. It's
So,
it's been a long journey, but I find it fabulous that I could just say, okay, so your latest rom-com, not having to deal with, oh, she had to like come out to her parents and deal with that. And that still exists, not to belittle that at all. I mean, I know my generation had an easier time of it, uh, but not as easy as the generations that have followed mine.
and that's only depending, right? Because it's only some people who have it easier.
Yeah,
They're still even though say maybe your parents are great, but maybe your school isn't. Or
right,
maybe school is, but your parents are the worst, or your siblings or your classmates. There's all these different places where you can get caught up, in a bad situation. I did a talk about 2 weeks ago, and somebody had asked me about why I write what I write.
hmm,
And, of course, there's the normal writer thing about exploring.
right,
The question is why, right? We always have what happens if? It's a what if question. And then the story that we write answers the what if question. So that's a massive thing. But hand in hand with that, for me, is the concept of modeling, of encouragement, of validation. I've said before, and I will say it for the rest of my life, that my job as an artist is to give voice to the voiceless. Period. End. That's my job. Um,
and it's
Thank you. I mean, I this is the gift that I have. This is the talent and the skill that I've developed with that gift, and that's my job. And because of that, I feel, and again, your mileage may vary. Everybody has a different approach to their craft.
hmm,
Art for art's sake is valuable too.
yes,
But for me, because I mean, the fact that I was an EMT says something right there. Um, I always want to help. I always want to reach out, and I always want to be part of that healing process. And so, a lot of my work shows you as a person how to navigate through issues. Gives you a survival path, um, which is, I think, critical. In this day and age, even though it is so much easier, or at least it seems publicly so much easier, and certainly on social media, it's seemingly easier. But 40% a full 40% of the homeless population is gay
It's
kids,
gay.
you know? So, I mean, we're only 10% of the population to begin with. So to be 40% homeless, what's, what's obviously the issue? So I want, I guess, for us who've gone through so much, it's my way of saying, I see you, solidarity. We went through this. We are comrades. We are brothers and sisters and siblings in arms. And for those who come before us, it's like, I see you and thank you
Yeah.
so much for giving us the potential and the power to be these siblings in arms with you, you know? And then for those who are coming up behind us, it's like, I see you, and we are creating these safe spaces for you. We're holding you in this special space. We're holding you safe as best we can, and we are here for you, you know, and each other. This community exists. We exist. And then finally, of course, it's the um can I give the bird?
Go ahead.
Awesome. It's the fuck you to authority that's trying to get rid of us and kill us
I
and tell
think
us that we don't exist. You know?
yes. And I'm watching, no, spoiler alert on this for anyone who watched The Masked Singer. Did you know Laverne Cox has just a fucking amazing voice?
No.
Oh my God. So I had kind of guessed it might be her. And one, how hot is Laverne? I'm sorry. It's just a
Oh, beautiful woman.
beautiful
Absolutely.
woman. And the fact that people get their selves upset that Laverne wasn't born Laverne.
Oh, you know what?
And I
I
was
don't
like,
even
what
pay
do you
attention to that.
care?
I was like, unless you were planning on being, I don't know, born from her body and now you can't,
I
uh,
know.
it's not an issue. You know, I don't understand why people care about that either. It doesn't affect them.
Such
It's
a voice.
really,
Oh my God, her voice was just like, oh my God. I was like, Aretha came back.
oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
Now I
check it
have to
out.
go listen. I will. I absolutely will. I am absolutely a fan of Laverne Cox.
I love
And
her. And I was talking to Faye Jacobs a while back and about our progress. The fact that I watched her on a game show and stuff, and there was just like no react. It's like our guest is actress Laverne Cox, not like Pioneer and all these. But you don't need to do that. This is who she is. She's a great talent, and that's it. End of sentence, like you said.
well, it's funny. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, she wrote the book Women Who Run with Wolves.
Yes.
She has this whole well, she's got gorgeous paragraphs and uh just chapters. She has this thing, and it was so cool. And it's obviously it stayed with me ever since I read this book, and I read this book like 30 years ago, more actually at this point. And she talks about how survivors of trauma,
Hmm.
and how back to the plant thing, how we're like, how survivors of trauma are like plants, and they're like, I have one green leaf, and do you know how hard it was for me to get this one green leaf? One green leaf. I worked really hard to get this green leaf, and I survived, drought and pestilence and predators and crazy birds to have this one green leaf. And she's like, and that's fantastic. Absolutely. It's
Hmm.
worthwhile, to it's absolutely, valid to have had that experience and it's such a huge deal to have survived so far to get the green leaf. Like, but when
It
you're a
takes.
full, yeah, but when you're a full flowering shrub, that's when you've healed. When
Yes.
nobody can tell that you had to go through, when your scars don't show anymore, and you don't have to sort of rely on your scars to give you your identity,
Right.
you have come into your own and you have come past the damage. And I mean, I'm paraphrasing terribly, and hopefully I haven't completely misjudged her message, but that's what I always took from it, that that's important to heal, and to heal not just to getting a green leaf, but to getting all the way to bloom.
I feel that that the healing and the trauma, you deal with that in Firefall, right?
Yes.
I feel.
Thank you. Yeah, I try very hard to,
Not
I know.
hitting you over the head, but this is part of the story. you know?
Well, it's, 1 in 3 women experience, assault.
Hmm.
Some places will say as few as 1 in 4. Um, but it's 1 in 3,
One in three.
so, and even if it is 1 in 4, that's still a lot of women,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
remember seeing that on the subway 30, 40 years ago, saying one in three aren't bad odds unless you're a woman and the subject is rape.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's 1 in 3. So, it's like if you're in a room and it's not, and you look around, if it's not, this person, not that person, it's certainly somebody in that room. And it's always me in the room, you know.
Yeah.
So and I say that, and I say it openly because I am sick to fucking death of taking blame. I am not taking blame for someone else's actions. Nobody doesn't say, doesn't talk about being mugged or any other thing that happened. Somebody else did a thing. I'm not responsible for what they did,
Right.
but I survived it,
Survived
you
it,
know.
and now you're like you said, you're becoming a shrub
Right.
and
Exactly.
healing and encouraging others to do the same, which I love that.
Thank you.
You have been a published author for quite some time now. We're going
Really?
back a few, I know, right? We've known each other a long time if you think about it.
Wow.
It's like, God, when did that happen?
I'm so glad it did though, you
Yeah,
know.
I'm having the best time. It's nice work. And I always tell
Great
people,
job if you can get it right.
yeah, and being a writer is much cheaper than therapy. I've been saying this for decades.
I
Now,
used to say that on stage all the time with my guitar.
yeah,
I do this because it's cheaper than therapy.
right. Now, if you look below the Beatles, is where if you've watched the show before, is where we put all the fun stuff. So we have the artwork for Punk Like Me. Everyone knows you for Punk Like Me, and there's exciting stuff still going on with this story.
Well, yeah. So I think I might have told you last time that
Mhm.
I say we because I work with groups. Um, that is in pre-production for sort of like a mini series, like a web-based mini series.
Mhm.
So that's actually now in post-production. So that means that they're doing all the editing and going through, balancing all the colors and all the other fun stuff, and I'm writing the next season for it. Um, but
Awesome.
also, yeah, it's cool.
It is
It's
so cool, right?
it's fun and it's crazy and I enjoy it. But what's super duper awesome to me is the graphic novel is coming out June 3rd, 2025. And it's been a long time coming. My wife is the artist on it, and
Awesome.
I am I, I could not have a better person to do the artwork. I get to see the previews. It's gorgeous, of course. You know,
Oh, yeah.
um, and I love watching it happen. It's amazing to me watching it happen. Right now, as we speak, she's drawing away, you know.
Oh,
So, but if you go to Amazon and you look for Punk Like Me, the graphic novel, you'll actually find it in pre-sale. So you'll see the cover. I'm not officially allowed to share the cover as far as I
oh.
know. However, if you happen to see it on Amazon, you know,
You might happen to see it on Amazon. Where I am going to put the link in, but when I find that link, if I stumble across the cover, it may show up in, as you know, there's a pre-video montage, very short because
right.
we're only focusing on a couple things this time.
That's
Uh,
okay.
with
That's okay.
the free YouTube music or the other Upbeat is the other place I get music from, which is free
Oh,
for
cool.
creators to
Fun
a
stuff.
limited number. Yeah, there's a lot of channels if you're creating these things that this crap is free because I'm a writer, so I have no money.
Is that that's like the rule? You're a creative, you have no money.
I'm creative. I don't have money. Trust me.
It, it's sort of like, you've had a choice before birth. It's like, okay, you can be smart and funny and entertaining at parties and a great person to hang around with, or you could have money.
I got it. Or I could tell you stories. I could tell you stories. Gather around. Auntie Mavis wants to tell a story.
I would totally join for that. I
I
would
know, right?
totally, totally do that. Oh my God, Mavis, you should do like a spooky story thing.
Oh,
You should do like a
I like going to actually spooky places and have
yes, you should
had
do like a
experience.
weekly spook. You should do like a weekly spooky story. I would
Invite
totally tune in
you.
for that.
Who was that? Kim Pretekel. She used to do like ghost tour, not the tours, but investigations.
Yes,
I was
yes.
like, I did something for her YouTube channel where I narrated, I think Tempest or something, and I we kept missing each other because I was actually in California, so I went to Alcatraz. I mean, how can you
Oh,
not?
wow.
I'm like got my little recorder in, and it something happened with the tape. We got nothing. Like it was not even me. So like the whole thing disappeared.
That's so cool.
It's definitely a vibe there. I mean, if you have you been? There's a
No, 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 I haven't. I haven't. I did go on a go. So there's a place around here. It's called Snug Harbor, and Snug Harbor used to be a retirement home for sailors. So it's this huge sort of
oh
estate.
nice.
Yeah, and it's got these different houses on it, and this big, big, sort of like repurposed like medical wing and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
So uh every year they run different groups with ghost tours. And they have some really interesting stories, and you can watch video. There's this one house where the matron used to live, and it's like haunted. They said like she had
Nice.
like a developmentally disabled son that she kept changing in the attic, and crazy. I know, right? And like, and
I don't
apparently,
mean to laugh. It's probably true, but it's like, of course, the
yeah,
sun
right.
was
But it was like crazy, crazy shit. So there's like these sellers. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go on this haunted tour because I want to see what it's all about. And there's several, right? So I go, and they're taking us around. They just show, and the thing is, they're really just doing a tour. They're not actually,
Mhm.
we're not there to really check for ghosts or whatever. But, but the coolest thing happens. So we're in one of these basements, right? And the guy sort of loosens the top of his now the floor is dirt.
Mhm.
Important that you know that because you can jump as much as you want and something 5 feet away isn't going to move.
Right.
Something
It's a dirt
16 feet
floor
away.
that yeah.
Exactly. It is a solid packed dirt floor. That's it. So the guy who's leading thing, he unscrews the flashlight just enough so it's a little bit of contact because apparently, ghosts don't have a body, but so it takes them a lot of force or whatever to move a thing. And he's trying to talk to ghosts and yes, no, this or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm
Make the
standing,
flashlight blink. Oh, I thought.
yeah, exactly. I'm standing 16 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I really and by the way, and so not only am I 16 feet away, I'm at the end of the hall. There's a wall there. There's no entrance. There's no nothing. This is a tunnel underground. So this is very important that you know that because there's no other way in or around me. That's it. There's me and there's a dead end.
Right.
I feel something massive about like the size of like a German Shepherd like slam. I'm like, but not in a bad way, not in an aggressive way, but like, the way a dog will push you?
Yes.
Exactly like that against my legs.
And
And it pushes by me. It pushes the next person who's like 2, 3 feet away from me because I see them move too. And the light spins and goes on. And I swear to God, I was right there. I watched it happen. I felt it happen.
there is your Halloween story, guys. That's awesome. I love
It
that.
was the coolest thing. It was the coolest thing.
I lived in Salem, Massachusetts for a while, so I had a lot, and I used a lot in Whispering Pines. People are like, oh, it's like no, no, it's like when they're in the witch house that the sheriff's son owned. Yeah, that crap where you feel like I couldn't breathe. That's what I felt like in that room,
Oh my gosh.
and not wanting to know why I felt that way in the children's bedroom.
No. Oh, no, no,
No,
no.
no, 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 no. Okay, so that was fun. So Punk Like Me, graphic novel on sale now, pre-sale on
Yes.
Amazon. We've got Firefall is on sale. We've got Her Curve in the works. I'm so excited for that.
Me too.
And you're in post-production. So what is next with
I'm
your
actually,
spare time there, JD?
I have so much. Well, actually, there is next. There's always next, right?
Right.
So, I've been working on some animation things. So that's a whole big other thing, and that we're in process and hoping for the best right now. And I'm working on the music, and I'm doing something I always wanted to do. When
Okay.
I first started my own musical journey independently, I always said that I wanted to do not exactly music, not exactly music videos,
Hmm.
but this, but music and visuals with the same sort of sweeping emotional impact as film. And so, I've always wanted to do it. I've done some music type videos that are like that, but I'm mostly instrumental work that I put some visual things behind, and it's been fun. It's been lovely, but I'm actually going to make a video for my own like actual songs. So like the
Nice.
well, thank you. So I'm being brave. I'm gonna do the thing. the thing that always wanted to do and just start taking my just taking my music and like I said creating videos for them and instead of just the instrumental pieces, you know. So I'm a little
Well,
scared.
yeah, I don't think people understand that that's a risk. You're really putting yourself out there. I think because I always associate you with music, and I know that's where punk like me came from,
Right.
was from your musical background, and in New York. And oh wow, it just if you haven't read the original, guys, there's going to be a link down below. It's just a wonderful book.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
that was when was that published? 2006 was the first.
2000. I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
2006, something like that.
wow,
So it's been a while.
it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's
So lots coming up for JD Glass, and oh wow, thanks for sitting down with me again.
Oh, thanks for having me. I always enjoy chit-chatting with you. We always have a good time, you know. So I have to ask, so where are you now in our grand nation?
And the grand we're in we're in Las Vegas.
How do you like it there? I know some people love it.
We came here because our niece and her husband were having a baby who is now 8. So we
Oh,
were here, as we like to say, I held you on the day you were born. So we've
that's
made a
awesome.
life out here. A few other, actually, with my old publisher, Blue Feather Books, there's a couple of us out here in Vegas now. Renee
Cool.
McKenzie's out here. Val Brown's out here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So it's
so we've
it's
got
a little
people.
coterie.
Yeah, little. We got people out here. It's the weather's good. Right now it's that time of year where we don't have to turn the air or the heat on. We could just
Right.
open windows. I love that.
That might be why I like this time of year so much too.
Yeah, and I miss New England. Obviously, I miss the ocean.
Yes.
But we got the bean and that kid on the other side of this desk over this setup I have going here is her desk. You know,
Nice.
yeah. So we got to, it's where you land. It's I think
That's true.
the families that you build and have. So Vegas itself, it did flip blue after we moved here, and then kind of red, and then it flipped red again. And I've got this tumultuous time of so we're in. I've got signs that say vote for the idiot or vote for her.
Right.
Okay, we are running short on time, so I do want to remind people to vote. And it is October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so I want to get a shout out to the girls while I can.
Important. Actually,
And
my mother is dealing with breast cancer, so it's been an arduous time. Obviously not as hard on us as it is on the person going through it. You know, but by all means, get checked,
I
stay
pointed
healthy.
out, because one of Heather's sisters, we lost her in October. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
okay, well, you know what? You got to keep the fight, and early detection is key. And be thinking of your mom. That sucks. Okay, so get the girls check and check out all of these projects that JD's involved with. Check out the links. Her website will keep you up to date. Her curve is up and coming, and oh, books and graphic novels, and now animation coming up. My gosh. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.